Greetings everyone and welcome. I'm your host Captain Rye, and today's video comes to us courtesy of Storm Surge Alpha. And Storm Surge is playing in the Tier 10 Russian mini cruiser, the Khabarovsk, here in World of Warships. As the battle gets underway here, it's Warrior's Path, it's Domination Match Mode. And Storm Surge has spawned basically right in front of the B cap point. Now, he isn't going to the B cap point, and this is a little bit of a controversial move to make as a destroyer skipper on this map. Except, he's in the Khabarovsk. Now, because of the nature of the B cap point, the amount of concealment it has, and what you're looking at for most likely being open and exposed or having to maneuver in a tight environment, the Khabarovsk is not suited to go to the B cap point. Instead, Storm Surge has wisely opted to head off to the C cap point. Now, the enemy team has started off with a destroyer advantage in this game. They've got 5 destroyers to Storm's 4 destroyers. I always say that the team that starts off with a destroyer advantage usually has the advantage right from the get-go, and depending on how well they play their destroyers, they definitely can go on to win the game. So it's always an uphill battle from the start. Now, Storm's team has already started capturing the A cap point. They've started contesting at the C cap point, but enemy destroyer pops up there, and you can see that the enemy team has managed to push his team out of the A cap point, and now they're contesting at A. And given the situation on the minimap here, you notice that Storm's team has basically split perfectly to A and C. Nobody's gone to B, and that's going to give the enemy team a much needed advantage with points right from the get-go. And I say it's a much needed advantage because anytime you can get that cap and get those points, it becomes an in-game advantage for your team. Plus, getting points up on the board early on at the B cap point will allow whoever's gone there to basically go and decide where he wants to go next. And since Storm's team isn't particularly interested in contesting at B, it basically means that cap is going to be uncontested, just gaining points. Now, Storm has already started taking fire here. If you look at his consumables down there, he has the heal ability and not a smoke screen. That's going to come into play a factor here later in this game. Personally, I don't like taking destroyers without smoke screens. I don't take my Yu-Yang out with a radar because I have to have that smoke screen. I love being able to just hide in it. But Storm Surge is doing what the Khabarovsk does best, with or without a smoke screen, and that is laying the hurt down on the enemy. Enemy Z-52 pops up there. This is not an engagement that the Z-52 wants to be in here because, well, it's a Khabarovsk, and honestly, I would not have opened up on a Khabarovsk with guns if I was in that situation, in that destroyer. Granted, Storm Surge has been taking quite the incoming fire, and he's been getting hit quite a bit here. He's already had to use one of his heals, and it looks like he's probably going to have to use another one soon enough. But let's take a look here. It's not even 5 minutes into the game, and at this point, Storm Surge has managed to accumulate almost 50,000 damage done. This is why they call the Khabarovsk a mini cruiser, and partly why they call it OP. Because 50,000 damage in the first 5 minutes is something that you would usually expect to see done with either a heavy set of torpedo hits or from a battleship. Now, the enemy team has managed to secure the A cap point, and they've secured a first blood at this point. And because Storm's team does not yet have a cap, and the enemy is capping C, this is going to be a problem for them. It's going to put them at a loss, at a detriment for points. And it's going to mean that they have to react to the map situation. Now, torpedoes coming out of that smoke screen, it looked like there was one set of 5 earlier, and now 2 more sets of 5, plus the way those shots coming out there, that probably indicates to you, if you're paying attention, that there is a Shimakaze in here. Now, this is not an engagement that the Shimakaze can win, and definitely not one that he wants to be in. However, as Storm comes out from behind this island, he is spotted there. Not sure if it was proximity because of the Shima, or if somebody else was in range to spot him. The Khabarovsk does have a very, very long spotting range there. Now, Storm gets his torpedoes off at that Shimakaze in the smoke screen there, but that Shimakaze, man, he got his engine boost active there because he managed to back out and away from all of those torpedoes. So all of those torpedoes unfortunately missed their mark, and because that Shimakaze has some backup in the form of several battleships, including a Montana here, Storm Surge decided he did not want to push up and deal with it. Second enemy Shima pops up there. Now, it's definitely not the same one, though you'd be forgiven for thinking that for a second. I kind of wondered how he managed to teleport. But no, this is the second Shimakaze there, so at this point, all three of the enemy Tier 10 destroyers, the Z-52, both Shimakazes, they're over here. And if Storm Surge can utilize the reload and rate of fire on his mini cruiser here to punish these destroyers and they can take them out, they might actually be able to rally back here and get themselves in better position. At this point, the friendly destroyer on the team has started challenging at B, and nobody is actually in the C cap point, so at the very least they don't have to worry about contesting it or finding another sneaky destroyer sitting in that cap. Z-52 pops up once again. He's all the way over at the border there. That's kind of unfortunate for him. And he gets spotted out in the open. But it looks like he's laying down a smoke screen there, so he's going to try and drop off into it. Now remember, with the Z-52, it's not a destroyer that you can go chase into a smoke screen because he's got that hydro acoustic. He can pop his smoke screen and then basically pop his hydro, and it is very good hydro, and just sit back and watch you as you approach. Additionally, if Storm Surge continued to fire there and wandered into the range of one of the other ships there, that C-52 would then have him highlighted thanks to the other ship. So Storm Surge is going to get himself turned around. He's going to head back towards the C-cap point, but not before dropping a nice hot load of torpedoes into that smokescreen. Now you'll notice he's being detected here, and he is being targeted. I'm not sure how close he actually has managed to get to that Z-52, but this is not good, being detected like this, because that Z-52 can put the hurt on him, and he's basically invulnerable as long as his smokescreen lasts. But of course, those torpedoes coming in there, so that Z-52 has seen them, and he is going to have to react, and that is actually, in fact, going to drive him out of his smokescreen. Friendly Shimakaze laying a whole hot load of torpedoes into that smokescreen, but again, Z-52 has already spotted him with his smoke, with his hydro up, so those from the Shimakaze completely wasted there. But look at this, he's trying to run away, and he made his mistake here by opening up with his guns. And because of that, he was detected right after coming out of his smokescreen, and so that's going to let Storm Surge put the hurt onto him and get his first kill in the game at the 11-minute mark, and 88,000 damage done. Unfortunately, at this point, the enemy team has the advantage. They're way up on points here, partly because Storm's team has not been able to secure a cap point. They're in the process and very close to getting B, and they do finally manage to do it. They secure the cap there, and they can finally get some points coming in there. But look at this. They've only managed to kill 3 of the enemy team, and the enemy team's managed to kill 6 of them. This is a significant problem here. Now, even though it's a Khabarovsk and it has a very large detection range, at this point I would not continue firing. I would try my very best to drop off detectability and secure the C-cap point, because at this point in the game, that's what the team needs most. It needs these caps, it needs these points. Enemy Shimakaze's putting up some harassing fire there, and you can see finally everyone's far enough away so he can open fire. That Shima just behind that island there, trying to back up into safety, but not quite enough there with the arcs of fire coming over from the Khabarovsk. Not quite those rainbow arcs that you get from something like a Gearing, but definitely not nearly as flat as something like the Shima. So with that destroyer dead, I do believe that means there's only one other tier 10 destroyer. Now, there is a Fletcher somewhere in this game, as far as I know. And the Fletcher could still be a serious threat. Now, at this point, given how much health Storm Surge has, no matter how much health that Fletcher has, Storm Surge can easily dominate that engagement, especially with his rate of fire. But the Fletcher has the advantage that he's going to see you coming a long way out. Storm Surge manages to help secure the C cap point so their team can start getting points in here, but look at this. The enemy team is still dominating with almost a 600-point lead. And while Storm Surge is doing as much as he can in the Khabarovsk, this is the problem with the Khabarovsk, in my opinion. It doesn't make for a very good destroyer. It makes for a good harassing ship, which is what he's doing to this Khabarovsk, managing to have set at least one fire, trying to set a couple of more, but look how many shatters he's ending up on that ship. There's his Witherer medal at this point for causing so much damage in fires. Surprisingly enough, though, he's only set 7 fires, but look how many main battery hits he's managed to achieve. And that Khabarovsk is definitely still burning down. I do believe that the Khabarovsk here does have an option to have longer range torpedoes, but they do a lot less damage, or they're much, much slower. And I would almost consider that in the Khabarovsk, partly because a lot of battleship players, especially top-tier battleship players, are probably not going to expect to get hit by Khabarovsk torpedoes if you're sitting out there shooting at them with your main guns open and exposed. They know you're there. I know I've made the mistake a few times where I've rolled out, seen a Khabarovsk at 10 kilometers, and thought, oh, I'm safe. I'll just finish him off with my guns while he tries to peck me to death, and then get right into him. There is yet another kill for Storm Surge, finishing off that Khabarovsk, and it almost looked like it didn't happen there because it looked like that Khabarovsk, very, very low health, started recovering, but that high rate of fire and high explosive, trying to set those fires, very, very good for Storm Surge, getting himself that 3rd kill. And 152,000 damage at this point. The only question is it going to be enough? At this point, with the exception of a pink battleship that's still back over by A, how he's back over there and how he's still alive, I am not so sure. The rest of the team is all clustered at C. The enemy team is re-secured B, so they're going to continue gaining the points there very, very rapidly. There's not a lot of time left in this game on top of that. Now, Shimakaze manages to get torpedoes out there, but it looks like both the Tirpitz and the Yamato manage to speed up there, straighten themselves out. Shima does manage to connect with one on the Yamato, which is a little unfortunate because Storm Surge did not focus him. If he'd focused him and set him on fire before the torpedoes hit, it would have been a possibility that the Yamato could have tried to put the fire out, only to get the flooding. But now, he's on fire because he's probably put the flooding out. So, either way, he is going to burn. But again, you can see here, Storm Surge putting the shots over the island. This is one of the things that makes this ship so utterly annoying to play against. The enemy Montana off in the distance there is firing high explosive. It's kind of a wise move on his part, trying to deal with the Khabarovsk, but you know, those 16-inch armor-piercing rounds will absolutely rip through the Khabarovsk. It's got just enough armor, especially when it's maneuvering. There's the enemy Fletcher has popped up, and this is actually about the point where if I was in the Fletcher, I would actually engage the Khabarovsk because he doesn't have a lot of health left. I've got backup with the Montana shooting at him, so yeah, go from there. But you can see here, Storm Surge focusing down that Fletcher. At the very least, he might as well try and take somebody else with him or cause that Fletcher so much damage that he's not able to effectively engage the Shimakaze that's back by the C cap point. At this point, the enemy team now is in the 900 points range. They're in the danger zone range here. They're in the process of contesting C, capturing it, so Storm's team's not getting any more points. They're down again. It's a 600-point difference here. It looks like the Fletcher may have stopped firing here. I don't think he popped a smoke screen, but the Fletcher very wisely opts to stop firing, drops off detectability, But I'm surprised that he's done that considering how low health Storm Surge is. This Fletcher really honestly could finish Storm off with guns if he really wanted to. Of course, the Montana is also going to try here. The only question is, Storm going to get away with it? Can he do it? Yeah, dodges those shots there. At this point, the game is really now only about doing as much damage as you can and possibly surviving to the end. Sets another fire on that Montana. That Montana is probably thoroughly annoyed at this point, especially considering how low health he is. But the game ends there in an unfortunate loss. A massive amount of damage done in the Khabarovsk there. 213,000 damage. Confederate Dreadnought in a destroyer, Witherer and High Caliber. 3 kills. And unfortunately, just couldn't get the team together to pull it together overall. But look at this. He's top of the team for XP earned, and he's actually number 1 in the match for XP earned at 1900 base XP on a loss, with the next nearest guy on his team at 1000, and the next nearest guy in the match on the enemy team at 1700. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, or have me review, you can send it to my email. If you'd like to help support me and the channel, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. Every little bit helps, especially right now. And if you'd like to watch me play various games live, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.